All right. Good morning to those of you who are here.
Hello.
How y'all doing today?
I'm pretty good. It's kind of nice to be at home and not have to travel when it's 20 degrees outside. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is one of the really nice perks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just... I see your guitar in the background. Do you play?
Oh yeah, yeah, I do actually.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a little band working on an album right now actually.
Excellent. What genre?
It's like indie folk.
Oh, my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'll
anytime
shoot you a
you want,
copy.
wait, I was gonna say, anytime you want like a beta listener,
Yeah, for sure.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to play guitar, but my hands are very small. So even on my baby Taylor, it's really hard still.
Mhm.
But like I can't do any bar chords because I don't have enough.
Oh yeah.
I just don't have long enough fingers.
Mhm.
So I have to use a capo if I'm going to do anything like that, but that still limits what I can do. So
Mhm.
I just hack at it.
There you go.
In another life, if I had longer fingers, I would be more of a musician because I played piano all growing up and would have loved to have gone that route, but you know,
Yeah.
you deal
Yeah,
with
I
your
would
hands
love to
here.
play piano. I'll trade you skills.
We should do that. I just have to grow longer fingers and then actually
Yeah,
I
exactly.
used to teach piano, so anytime you want
Oh
some
really?
lessons, let me know.
Hey, yeah. That sounds great. I mean, we're in another lockdown, so we might as well learn another instrument.
Exactly. What else are you gonna do? Bake bread?
I know. Go to Zoom meetings.
There you go. How are the rest of you guys doing? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? I forgot. This is a class where Mason does all the talking, and
Oh
every
yeah.
once in a while somebody else jumps in. But you lost your other talkative
I
people. I mean,
know.
Bradley's here, but
I was really excited to read his papers and then he just stopped coming. I was really
I
bummed out about
know.
that. I was very intrigued to read what he would have to say, but
Yeah,
Sinabi.
his. I will tell you that his personal essay, the narrative, the first essay was pretty good,
Mhm.
and I would have liked to have seen the rest of his work, but I don't know. I never heard back. I emailed and I never got a response, so I'm just hoping everything's okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I hope it's all good.
Um. Okay. Let's see. I need to make sure because I stopped writing names down halfway through my list here. So let me just get the last couple of people who have logged in on my attendance list. I'm hoping we'll get a couple more people, but you never know these days. that time of semester and with switching to online. Okay. Okay, welcome to everyone. Just letting you know that you do not have to have your microphones and cameras off. You can turn them on if you would like. I'm glad, Mason, you've got yours on so I can at least see one person. If you don't have your cameras and your microphones on, if you have them off, you'll have to use the chat, or you'll have to turn your microphone on in order to respond, or in the participants menu, you have options to, click a little button for yes or no, or to raise your hand, or to give a thumbs up, or to offer a cup of coffee. I mean, that's asking for a break, but honestly, just give me a cup of coffee. I'll be happy. I don't know what the other, oh, you can clap. Wow, that's pretty cool. So anyway, you have ways to respond, but you'll need to show that you're here somehow. Everyone get that?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Got a couple of you. Okay. Ah, Lexi found the chat. Good job. And it's nice to see, to see that you are here, Lexi. I've missed you and I'm glad you're back. So, yay. By the way, in the chat, you can type chat to everyone. You can also chat with individual people if there's someone you want to ask a question or something. Hey, Ari, you can do that as well by hovering over their name. And then I think under more, you can go to chat and just do a private chat with people if you want to. So yeah, you have options there. And then you've got little reaction buttons that you can use. Like we can celebrate, because why not? I have no idea what that just did. Did you guys see a little celebrate thing? Oh, it's up by my picture. Ha, cool. I've never used those before, so I didn't know. Lexi sees it. Good. Okay. Yeah, I admit that I'm just rambling a little bit right now to give a few more people, like our friend Gabe, a chance to get logged in and join us. And then we'll get started. Same thing happened in the 7:45 class. We'll try not to make a habit of this every class. We'll try to start on time like we would in the classroom. But, as we're getting used to this transition to online, we'll give people a little bit of grace about logging in and stuff like that. When we do start class, I'm just going to start and I'll let people in as they come in, but I'm not going to stop and go back over things. So if you do miss something and you want to ask a question, please make sure you ask the question. If it's not directly to me, you can chat with one of your classmates and ask them. Before we get started on class for today, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns about anything, about being online, about the research project, about registering for winter classes, about why it's not sunny today, anything?
Yeah, the outline that's due Monday,
Mm-hmm.
is that just the start of a new project then?
Yep, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
Other questions? Anyone? Has anyone started registering for winter classes yet?
Yeah, I'm pretty all registered up at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm registered too.
Okay, good. As you all, I'm sure, are aware, we, may or may not be in person for any classes in the winter. It's kind of depends on how things go these next 3 weeks, and if the order gets extended, or if there's even more restrictions in place, or whatever happens. So I would, those of you who are registering or have registered for some face-to-face classes for winter, keep in mind that there's a likelihood that they could all be online, or at least maybe start online and move to the classroom later in the semester. I don't know. Nothing has been determined exactly yet. The ideal is any classes that are being offered face to face will run face to face, but you just never know if that's going to happen. So just keep that in mind so that you're not disappointed if your face to face class suddenly becomes an online class. Instead, think like Mason said earlier, how nice it will be to stay in your warm, cozy home, perhaps even your warm, cozy bed for class, instead of going out in the snow and ice and freezing temperatures, especially if winter is as bad as being projected. So, just try to give it a positive spin in case it happens so that you're not entirely disappointed. Yeah. All right. So, does anyone have any other questions? Gonna take that as a no. So I don't see anything coming up in the chat yet. But if you do, you can always change your mind and speak up or write in the chat. We are going to try to keep our regular schedule, as much as possible. And so the first thing we're going to do right now is our brain dump. So I'm going to put 2 minutes on my timer here. Where'd it go? There it is. Okay, so go ahead and get your fingers on your keyboards or your pen and pencil, and we'll do 2 minutes of brain dump, and then I will switch and share the screen with the 5 senses, which should be interesting because you're in a different environment today. And then we'll get on with regular class. All right, 2 minutes. 2 minutes on the clock, starting now. All right. All right, so I hope I'm giving you enough time for this. It's kind of hard to tell. Normally in the classroom, I'm looking around the room to see like what people are doing, if they still look like they're writing and stuff, but we're just doing what we can right now, right? Okay. So today we are going to be looking at the third project, the third and final of the writing projects, apart from the portfolio. The portfolio is your final exam for this class, and we will talk about that assignment Monday so that you are prepared or can prepare for working on that when we get back after Thanksgiving. Once we finish this third project, our final week of class will be devoted to the portfolio. Portfolio, one thing to know is there's a template to follow for it. So a lot of it is just copying and pasting what you already have into the template. And then you have one thing that you have to write for it. But most of it is stuff you've already done. Right? But again, we'll talk about that more on Monday. Before we start talking about Project 3, our arguable assertions, does anyone have any questions about the research or the rest of this semester or anything? Again, we've had a few people join since I last asked. Anyone? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna share screen again with my agenda and the other things that we'll need to look at. I see a bunch of you are on the agenda, so that's good. If you're not, or you want to just use the share screen, that's good, because then you'll know exactly what I'm kind of pointing to. All right, so our project 3 is arguable assertions, and this is where we are going to take, ideally, the work from the, why is this not doing this? Whatever. Sorry, I'm trying to get everything kind of spread out where it needs to be so I can see everything I need to see right now. Anyway, so we're going to take the work that we've been doing in our research projects, and we're going to now form our opinion, or we're going to communicate our opinions about what we've been working on. So you had the research as an explanatory, exploratory, expository kind of writing where you're informing you're educating, you're sharing, you're not persuading. But now we're going to move into that persuasive kind of writing. So what you want to do is look back at your research. Ideally, you will use your research for this because you've already done the work. What you'll be doing is taking that work you've already done and remixing it, reforming it into something different, which is an argument type of piece, an opinion piece. I call it an argument-based opinion. So an opinion piece is something, or an opinion is something where you say, everyone should drink their coffee black and unsweetened because that's the way coffee is meant to be. And if you start adding in sugar and cream and all kinds of other things to your coffee, you're not really drinking coffee anymore. So just drink your coffee the way it's supposed to be, just plain coffee. Right? That's an opinion. And there aren't really any facts that can back that up as such. You know, you can take information and you can twist it and say this is the way it should be, but it can be debated. You know, other people can say, you know, what's wrong with starting with, you know, your base of coffee and then adding things to it to change the flavor, to change the texture, to just mix it up every once in a while. So that's more of the opinion based writing without necessarily arguable assertions behind it, without claims and evidence behind it. When you're talking about the kind of opinion writing we're going to be doing, you're talking about opinion that is based on evidence and reason. And so you have a topic such as something like abortion, because that's possibly going to be coming up in the Supreme Court, right? So if you take a topic like abortion and people have views on abortion, and so they can just give their opinion, which is not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is we're trying to say, this is my understanding of whether or not abortion should be legal, for whom, in what circumstances. This is the evidence that supports this. And then you're going to decide then how, you know, who needs to hear this and why. And then what form is that going to take? So we've got looking at our topics, determining what our claim and finding the evidence already in our papers for that claim, that belief, that opinion. And then we would work on our statement of purpose. The statement of purpose is really important. And I think this project really solidifies why it's important. So if we're writing our papers, we're writing our projects, wait, that's already open. It's linked there, but it's already open here. So when we're, you know, writing our projects, we need to understand, you know, what is it we're trying to do with this? We're not just communicating our opinion just because. So why? Why are we doing this? Who exactly is our audience? And why are we choosing that audience? If it's that abortion issue, maybe, you know, the right audience is probably lawmakers. So we would want to then say, okay, well, how am I going to communicate with the lawmakers? What is the context of that? Am I just writing because I feel like it, or is there legislation that is coming up or potentially coming up regarding this topic? And so who do I need to address with that? And then, you know, you can put it all together into your statement of purpose. And so we had that example there that we've looked at, you know, in the past. And after considering purpose, audience, and context, we have this statement of purpose from this student who says, I want to persuade a harried and reluctant dean of students that my circumstances warrant a late drop in English. So that would be this student's thesis, basically, is I should get a late drop in English because. Right, so that would lead into the student's thesis. She knows who she wants to write to, the dean of students. She knows that at the time she's writing, the dean of students is likely to be, kind of overwhelmed with work, busy with a lot of different tasks, and will be reluctant to grant this request because it's late in the semester. And at that point, why didn't you drop earlier when you should have, when you could have without penalty? So this students going into this knowing that the dean is not likely to be very receptive. But the student believes that if the dean understands the circumstances, the dean is likely to consider the request and ideally grant the request. So she goes on and says, I don't want her to think I'm only grade grubbing so that she turns down my request. Instead, I want her to see I'm making the request because I'm serious about doing well, and I learned a lot this semester about needing to manage my time. So this person knows what her two main reasons are for asking for this late drop, is because she's learned a lot. She's serious about doing well, right? Now, whether or not the dean would grant the request is a whole different issue, but this student knows exactly who she's writing to, and why. She has chosen the one person who is in the position of authority. So she's writing a letter directly to the dean. Now, if we go back to, say, our abortion example, then maybe our letter would be to our state representative or our state senator, or both, right? So we can pinpoint the lawmakers that we would have direct access to, that we could write to, and try to influence their actions. Maybe it's because it might be something coming up in the Supreme Court. Maybe we would be able to write directly to certain judges on the court. That might take some digging to figure out how to do that, but it's, a possibility, or to the court as a whole. Maybe in that case, an open letter would be a better choice. And there are some examples here that you can take a look at for open letters. An open letter differs from that personal letter in that the open letter is addressed to a particular audience. So in this case, it might be the Supreme Court, but it's not sent just to the Supreme Court. It's published in a more public format. So it might be posted on social media. It might be published in a newspaper or another kind of publication where it is open for everyone to read, even though it's addressed to a specific person or group of people. And then there's opinion pieces, which, maybe in this case, if we were sticking with that abortion idea, an opinion piece may or may not be appropriate. You just have to look at, how that's going to work. Probably an advertisement or a public service announcement is not necessarily going to be the best choice for that, but it could be better for some other things. In the earlier class, we were given the example of, the overall topic of cybersecurity. And so I was thinking about, well, if your view was that people needed to choose complicated passwords and be ready to change them frequently, every few months or something, or once a month or whatever, a good way to share that might be with a public service announcement. So our project is to take whatever we've worked on in our research, form our own opinion about that, an argument-based opinion. That means an opinion that can be backed up with evidence, like good evidence, which you should already have in your research paper. Determine then, what is your purpose? Who is your ideal audience? Who is the person or the people that have the power to make a difference? It may be lawmakers. It may be a dean of students. It may be a board of trustees. It may be a whole group of students in general, or just everyone in a particular location. What is your audience, and what do you know about that audience? Then what is the best way to address that audience? And that's where you get to decide, well, what kind of piece am I going to write? So you have a choice with this project what you're going to write. And even with the public service announcement, you possibly could make a short video if you wanted to. So what questions do you have right now?
So you would turn in the video as well?
Yeah, if you made one. If you
Or-
didn't want to actually make the video, you could do a storyboard script kind of thing for the video. Like, this is what I would do if I were making the video. This is what it would say. This is how it would look.
Mm-hmm. And so then if we were doing like video format, are we turning in written as well? Like here's like the written part and here's the
Yeah.
video, or is it like here's the video?
I would want to see at least kind of the outline, storyboard, whatever it is you would do to plan out the video along with the video, but it wouldn't have to be that you'd have to have a fully written script to go with it.
And it doesn't have to relate to the project that we're just finishing, right?
Well, ideally it will, because you've already done all that research. But if you have a different thing in mind and you're willing to put in the time and do the research for it, you could do something different.
Does this need to be the same length and MLA standard as the research topic or
No,
project?
no, because each form is going to have its own requirements. So a letter is not going to be written in MLA format.
Mm-hmm.
Right? A letter, you're going to kind of, you could use your research, but you wouldn't be creating in-text citations with the parenthetical part and having a works cited page. You would just be more like saying, according to this study done by Harvard, blah, blah, blah.
Well, all right, yeah. But what about the opinion piece?
Same thing, an opinion piece is not going to have a works cited page and in-text citations like that. None of these will have a works cited page with in-text citations.
Right. Okay. Do you still want them 6 pages, or what's
No.
the?
No. An opinion piece usually does not run more than 500 to 700 words.
Oh, okay.
A letter, you want your letters to be a pretty reasonable length. If we look at the open letters, and I'm gonna say that the absentee students, Liberate Me, and To White Women, those are all McSweeney's, so they're kind of not as full on serious as like to the all USAG gymnasts one. So if we look at the gymnasts one first, because that is a much more serious one for all of you who may not be aware, this goes back to the scandal with Larry Nassar and the sexual assault on gymnasts over a period of many years. So
That
this
was
is
the Olympic coach, right?
he was the doctor.
The doctor, yeah.
The doctor associated with Michigan State, who was the doctor for most of these gymnasts,
Okay.
Olympic level, national level gymnasts. Yeah. So this one you can see is about a page and a half, and it's single spaced. You can see it's in a basic letter format. It's, to all USAG gymnasts, blah, blah, blah. And then it's written directly to them. It's kind of a good mix of formal and informal. It's informal in that it does use you where we wouldn't use you in more formal writing, like a research paper. we're going to use you here because you're directly speaking to a person or a particular group of people.
So
Um,
in like a letter to like lawmakers, you wouldn't use you.
Well, in a letter to lawmakers, you're addressing the lawmakers. You're saying, you know, I'm asking you to consider this issue. So yes,
Okay.
it's a letter, so you're going to use you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good question there. So any of the letter forms, you can use you. The let's see, let me go back to this is one of my personal favorites just because it is just so sarcastic. Although it's a little meaner than I would think. But this is basically to all those students who just kind of disappear. So dear absentee students, during this early part of the term, I just wanted to take this opportunity to reach out to you, not to remind you, threaten you about when and where the class is in my draconian attendance policy, but to thank you for, first of all, saving me the painful task of having to look over your barely thought about assignments. It just kind of goes on. Like, this is taking a different approach to chastising students for not coming to class. And instead of saying, you know, you're losing out on everything, I'm going to thank you for, you know, making my workload lighter by not turning in your assignments. You know, one less attendance verification, one less portfolio, one less final, one less, I'm just wondering why my grade is a 1/4% lower than I calculated it should be. One less email explaining how coincident to the week after spring break, your dearest Nana has died. You know, and all this, you can see this one's a bit longer. It's also larger type, so there is that to consider
Yeah.
on here as well.
I guess
And-
for that format, like, should we keep with the size 12 font?
For letters, I would stick with the size 12. You don't have to necessarily do Times New Roman, but I would stick with around size 12 for letters. Yeah. So these letters, you know, they're linked right there in the agenda, so you can take a look at them, the open letters. A letter to the editor is something you would find in like a newspaper where it's just any person who is writing in about something that they care about, or sometimes often something they want to complain about. Yours should not be a complaining kind of letter. It should still be, if you choose a letter to the editor, it should still be a research-based opinion or a research-based complaint if there is a complaint. You know, a complaint about the lack of noise noise regulation enforcement in the summer or something like that. I don't know. I was just thinking about how some of my neighbors have parties at 3 o'clock in the morning in the summer, which normally doesn't bother me because normally in the summer I'm awake then. But you know, there's ever that one night when I want to sleep for some reason. And I can't, and I'm wondering, why aren't the police doing something about this? Why do I have to call them and complain? Why can't they just like take care of it? So that might be, you know, a letter to the editor type thing. And then again, advertisements and public service announcements. You know, that is a whole different genre there. So length is not even a thing at that point. It really, you just need to cover the material as long as it takes to cover the material. But you know, open letters, again, you're looking at maybe a page to 2 pages for any of the letter options. And the opinion piece, again, 500 to 700 words, ideally, maybe a little bit less even. So you're not writing 6 pages. You're looking at a shorter length for any of these, more in the, you know, maybe think of it as 2 pages, 1.5 to 2 page length. Does that answer your question or complicate things?
Real 50-50.
All right, good.
Do you want to double space whatever we do still?
No,
Okay.
I don't, because none of these would be double spaced in real life.
Right. Right.
So I want you to follow the form that a normal, any of these normal pieces, any of these kinds of pieces would take in a normal setting. So,
Okay.
if you're thinking, okay, I think based on what we've talked about, I am wanting to write a letter to a lawmaker. A really good thing to do is to take your Google Docs or your Word or Pages and look for a template for a business letter
Okay.
and follow the template. Use that template to create your letter. If you're wanting to write an opinion piece like the op-ed, then open up, the New York Times or Washington Post or any of those kinds of major sort of newspapers and see what do their opinion, their op-ed pieces look like, and imitate that. Advertisements, PSAs, Google PSAs and imitate what you see that you like, that seems to fit your project. So I'll probably put some PSA examples on here. I didn't get that done last night because I was on the wrong computer to find the collection that I have. So I'll get that linked up as soon as I can. Ideally this afternoon, if not tomorrow morning.
Okay. And do we want the statement of purpose like in the piece that we're writing as well?
Nope.
Okay.
No, I don't want the statement of purpose in the piece you're writing, but I want you to do the statement of purpose so that you can intentionally, purposely choose the piece that you want to do, the mode that you want to write in. And one resource that might be useful, and especially if you're going to change your topic from what you're doing in your research, this might be a good way to go about that. Although I really think if you've done your research paper well, you should be able to use information from there. But this procon.org is nice because it gives you, like, if you open up vegetarianism for whatever reason, and then you wait because your internet's really slow. And there's the question, should people become vegetarian? You have pro arguments and con arguments, and you can open them up to look at the different arguments in here, different pros and different cons. And so that's kind of nice. And they have, their again, I'm sorry, my internet is very slow today. But they give you the references so you can see where information comes from for those arguments. So it's, it's a good source for helping to create your own argument. And it, yeah. Questions about that? You guys are much quieter than the earlier class. You always have been, but you're definitely quiet. Okay, so let's review what we need to do for this. You need to, first of all, go back through your research paper, assuming you're using your research. If you are going to use something different, that's fine. Just know that you have to be willing to commit to doing the work, the research that you would need to do, because this is a research-based paper. So you do have to have evidence in your whatever piece you end up doing, in your opinion piece of some sort. You have to have the evidence embedded in it. You're not doing in-text citations with the parentheticals, and you're not doing a works cited page, and you're not having to do everything in Times New Roman size 12 double spaced. but you do have to, embed research into your piece. You have to be able to show that, I believe people should do this about global warming because this study shows and that article shows and blah, blah, blah. The evidence is. So you need to be able to put that in there, kind of just weave it right in, but you're not creating separate citations for it. And then you need to decide. So this is my view. This is the evidence I have for it. Now, what is my purpose? You're going to go through and do the statement of purpose. All of it. Do the statement of purpose. Once you know your purpose, because you've considered that audience and the context, then you can make a better decision about what type of piece you want to do. You decide on your piece, then you can start to outline your project. Your outline can be any form of outline you want to do. If you want to do a more formal outline of this is the way I want to do this and this is my evidence, great. If you want to do a web because that works better for your brain, that's fine too. If you want to make some sort of a chart, go for it. However, if you want a storyboard, if you say, okay, I feel better about doing this in a storyboard format, especially if you're thinking of something like an advertisement or a public service message, then, create your storyboard. It doesn't have to be beautiful or perfect or anything like that. It just has to be usable for you. You're going to use that in class on Monday. So Monday is where we're going to start actually drafting the project. Questions, comments, concerns?
I think when I had missed one day, I had made a submission to statement of purpose, but I think that I'm pretty sure that I had submitted something to statement of purpose already, but knowing now that I submitted it in the wrong thing, because I had for some reason thought that was thesis. So I think that I had tried to write my thesis for the last paper and then submitted it in statement of purpose. So
Okay.
is that okay to have multiple papers in one submission and just ignore the first one?
Yes, that is
Oh, cool.
fine.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
In fact,
'Cause,
it'll
I
show me
definitely
when I go into the needs grading and I look at the different assignments, it only shows me the last one that was submitted. So if you've
Okay.
submitted a few different attempts for different reasons, like one didn't go through or you put the wrong thing, it's only going to show me the most recent one, although I have access to all of them. So if I needed
Neat.
to go look and see, I see that, oh, this is attempt 2 of 2. What was one? I don't, let me just check that. So I usually
Cool.
do check them and see what's there.
Okay, cool.
So any other questions or concerns you guys have? I mean, do you feel comfortable going through this process?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I've gotten 2 yeses, one vocal and one in the chat.
Yes.
Another one. Okay, good. And guys, when I can't see you, that's the only way I know that you're here and responding is if you either chat or use the, if in the participants, you can use the little raising your hand kind of thing, thumbs up. There are lots of options for that. Just letting me know that you're good or you have questions is helpful. All right, so that really is the extent of what I have for you today. I'm not going to make you stay on the meeting and do the work, although you are welcome to do that if you would like to. If you are set, you can take off. If you need to talk to me for whatever reason, you can hang out and I will talk to people. If you need a private conversation, I can set up a breakout room for private conversations and just have people come in as needed. So,
Professor,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
you already touched base on the outline on the project.
Mm-hmm.
I must have missed that.
Oh, you can create any sort of outline that you want. You can create an actual traditional outline, with the Roman numeral 1 and the little letters A
Okay.
in that,
Right.
or you can create a chart, storyboard, web. I use the term outline just as a blanket term for any way that you want to kind of map out your project.
Okay. And then do you have the tabs on the assignments to turn it or to submit the statement of purpose?
What do you mean? Like on Blackboard, do I have that set up yet?
Right. Yep.
No, I don't think I do. So I need to do that.
Okay.
I will get that done.
All right. And then also lastly, you had the you wanted the comments about our research papers in the discussion board. You wanted those turned in, or did you just want us to comment on their papers?
Shoot. I think I forgot to make the submission link on your class. I did it on the earlier class. I think I forgot for yours. If you
Okay.
have them posted in the discussion board, I can look at them there.
Okay, perfect.
Are we going to be submitting the outline into Blackboard, or do we just need that for class on Monday?
You're just bringing that to class on Monday.
Okay.
And if we have any other questions, we can just email you later, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Okay. So at this point, you are free to take off and do whatever you need to do, or if you need to talk to me, you can stick around and we'll have some conversations. The rest, if you're leaving, go ahead and have a wonderful day. The sun is starting to come out. Yay. So at least it is here.
Sweet. All right. Well, I will see you Monday. What day is it
Monday.
today? Wednesday? Yeah, I'll see you
Yeah.
Monday.
All right.
Wait, that's the last day of classes before break, right?
Yes, yes, it is.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll see you Monday.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Okay. Who do I have left here? Hold on. I'm going to stop my screen for a second. Okay, so Emma and Lexi.
Yes, I just had a quick question about the paper. Let me go to the